Welcome to Gathering Nature. Super excited to be with you today to discuss another festive plant. Let's go and find out from Natasha Lloyd what it is.
Hi there, Jaden. Hello from another wintry Scotland. This week we are going to discuss mistletoe, which is a really interesting one. We're really looking forward to having a good chat to you about this. See you soon. Bye.
This, I would say, could possibly be one of my favourite festive plants, although it's never fucking worked for me.
Me neither.
I even told my boss when I'm singing that building, nice little stage, it's all beautifully decorated. I said, right, well, I need some of this plant right above my singing pit. And he went, all right, okay. Nothing. So what are we talking about?
We are talking about the wonderful mistletoe.
We are. Now, before we go into all the kind of the nooks and crannies of mistletoe, UK side, Scotland side, Europe side, here we have a parasite that is very familiar. Okay, the familiar leaf, but it's actually got almost like an orange trumpet flower rather than berries, and they call that mistletoe here. They use that for the same reasons here. I haven't got it here in San Cris, but in Mexico, it used to be in Quintana Roo, where I lived before. They used to have that parasite, and they used that as mistletoe at Christmas.
Right. Okay. Has it got the same leaf? You said
pretty much. Very similar leaf.
A variation, a different
family, a distant cousin. Yeah. But let's chat all things mistletoe because I do love it. Tell me.
Okay, so it's a really interesting one, the fact that we use it at Christmas and all the traditions around it. But from a medicinal point of view, the berries are poisonous. And if you eat them, they can be fatal.
Wow, okay.
So never eat it. I remember as a child when we used to do the tradition with mistletoe, like, don't eat it, don't go near it.
Yeah.
And that's why.
So nothing culinary then?
Well, interestingly, this is where it gets really interesting. So only when it's in its concentrated form that it can be fatal. It's poisonous before that and causes vomiting, etc.
Okay.
But in Lastria, I'm not too sure where Lastria is.
The other side of the ice wall.
Where's the ice wall? It's where Layla is at the moment.
Yeah, actually, yeah, not too far off of it.
Yeah, she just had a snowstorm. They have a fermented beverage called bisca that's made from the leaves.
Okay, so never ever touch the berries, no matter what.
I wouldn't even touch personally, I wouldn't touch the leaves or the berries, but I'm overcautious and I like being that way. I feel better when
you like living, so this is one thing.
I do like
and
living.
Not vomiting, got out.
Definitely don't like vomiting, but it is used medicinally.
Okay, for?
Well, like all poisons, it's all about dosage.
Okay.
So Rudolf Steiner, who founded anthrophilosophical medicine, I'm not pronouncing that fully right, he used a mistletoe extract for cancer treatment.
Okay.
And it's an adjunct.
Successfully?
I believe there's actually a place in Aberdeen that you can go and get this done, and it has shown positive results. When I was doing a bit of research earlier, they're not showing anything in science about it.
Okay, well, figures.
Well, science takes ages to catch up with things, so it's not that it's a negative. But it's been shown to kill off some forms of cancer cells.
Okay.
Not all of them, but some of them. I didn't get into the nitty-gritty of which ones, and it affects the immune system, so I assume it boosts the immune system.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen recently, they've been talking a lot in Australia about immunotherapy for cancer.
No.
So, yeah, you've been doing lots of things. I spend my life looking at different papers and stuff. And so that is it's almost like science is again catching up with the fact that you need your immune system boosted around that sort of time.
Right.
It's an immune disease cancer to a degree. It's an inflammatory and immune system. So that's really interesting that that's been put in there. It does need more research. Obviously, do not do this for cancer therapy without a qualified and experienced practitioner.
Right. Do not try this at home.
Do not try this at home. It's not worth the risk. If you want to seek that out, find a Steiner or what's the Camp Hill place and talk to them. They have way more experience than either you and I do. And so, yeah, they can be found in various parts of the UK and Camp Hill communities. And so there is that avenue to go and seek that out.
Okay.
So put that in. Going back to, it's interesting that birds seem to have an immunity to the toxin. Some birds.
Yeah, I've seen birds eat it before. Yeah, absolutely. I can't remember which ones. I'd say robin and blackbird, but I actually can't remember now.
Well, it's got a chemical in it that is the poison, viscomin, and they seem to be immune to that. They're very important for its distribution.
Okay.
So there's some relationship there, isn't there? That
symbiotic relationship. Yeah, birds eat it, poo out the seed into another tree, and hence, more mistletoe.
Yeah. See, I also found that in Germany it's used for helping and treating circulation and respiratory issues using the leaves and young twigs.
Okay.
Again, not something I've done, but it's interesting that in one part of the world, culturally, you're like, never go near it. It's just hanging up and kissing at Christmas. Somewhere else, it's like, oh no, this is good for your circulation.
To live, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be interesting if people at home, if you guys have heard of any procedures, any medicinal way of using mistletoe, if you've had any form of therapy that has involved mistletoe as well, we would love to hear about it, and also love to promote that as well. So if you've something that's worked for you, please add it in the comment section of this episode. That would be amazing. Any more mistletoe?
No, that was plenty to be going on with, because it's got all the interesting nuances. Yeah, it's used and then it's drunk in some places, yet in other places, no. So I found that absolutely fascinating.
I love mistletoe anyway. Well, let's see what the others have to say, shall we?
The others.
Let's do the others. Here we go.
What I understand is mistletoe is a common name used for two species of different plant. The American version, Foraging nucarpum, is a hemiparasitic plant, and that Foraging in Latin means leaf plant, and it takes the minerals and water out of the host tree, and is very good with its sticky white flesh of the berries to transport the seeds to new host plants. But it provides great food for cedar waxwings and American robins and eastern bluebirds over the winter. So that's a good thing.
So we're going to look at mistletoe, and it seems quite fitting as we're starting to prepare for the Yuletide season and the Christmas season. We use mistletoe prolifically in our households over that time to represent all kinds of things, particularly kissing under the mistletoe, which we'll look at in a minute. So it's associated with healing, love, fertility and protection. And it was highly regarded by the ancient Druids. It was one of their most important medicines. In fact, they used to call it heal all, because they believed that it healed a multitude of illnesses, and particularly good as an antidote to poison. Apparently, I couldn't tell you what poison, but they used it as an antidote to poison. The Druids believed that it was a key to the other world, because the way that mistletoe grows, it grows above the ground and below the sky, but it hosts on a plant in between, on a tree in between. So it's seen as part of the in-between world, or part of the other world, and particularly the Druids thought it was a key to the other world. So they would use it to travel to the other world, and for divination, fortune telling, that kind of thing. It symbolises life in winter. It's an evergreen, and like many of the evergreens that we have in the winter, the Druids, ancient Celts, ancient peoples saw them as a symbol of life in the dark. And the mistletoe in particular it was often called the golden bough, because when you dry mistletoe, the green stems turn a golden colour, and because it's a plant of the sun and the plant of Yule, it's associated with the rebirth of the sun and the rebirth of the sun god. Druids believed in particular that it contained the spirit of the oak tree. Now, mistletoe grows on so many different trees, apple in particular, particularly where I live. It's prolific on the apple trees locally to me, but the most sacred mistletoe was that found on the oak tree. And the Druids thought that this contained the spirit of the oak tree, so that when the oak tree died down in the winter, it said the spirit was kept within the mistletoe, and the mistletoe would release that spirit into the oak tree as winter passed and spring came. Its connections with fertility are because it is a plant of rebirth at the sun, but also if you squeeze the white berries, it is said that it looks like the juice inside looks like semen. So the ancient Celts believed that it was the semen of the gods. Women who wanted to get pregnant may well have worn mistletoe either around their wrists or around their waists to encourage the taking hold of a new life and a baby. The idea of kissing under mistletoe is fairly modern, particularly taken off in the Victorian times. You've got to remember that the Victorians were quite tight-laced, very proper, and so to allow themselves to kiss under the mistletoe was giving them a little bit of freedom. And as a game that they would play, they would have a bunch of mistletoe with the berries, and each time a man kissed a woman, a berry would be removed, and once all the berries had gone, then the game stopped. So it's a way of the Victorians allowing themselves to let down their hair. So that's just a little bit about mistletoe. Or you can use it in spells for protection if you hang it around the home, particularly outside the front door, but if you keep it there all year, it offers protection to the house all year. And it's really good to bring in peace into the house. So that's a little bit about mistletoe.
Thank you, ladies. Always lovely to see you. Always lovely to hear you and to find out more information from you crazy kids as well. I hope you lot at home enjoyed it. Please make sure you like, subscribe and share. If you have any information with regards to today's plant, please put it in the comments section. We will see you next week on Gathering Nature. Take care. Bye-bye.